What's going on, everybody? Nick here with Project Central, and today we're going to go over my top 10 favorite RoadKill cars because our most beloved RoadKill show has been canceled. We've seen the writing on the wall with Friburger really putting a lot of great effort, putting out some awesome YouTube videos here over the past couple months. We all knew that something changed in his situation, and since his primary baby was RoadKill, like RoadKill Garage, we knew something big had happened. And we found out last week that the shows have all been canceled. Not just RoadKill, but most of the Motor Trend shows. So today we're going to go over my top 10 favorite RoadKill project cars. Starting off this list strong with the Maserati. We saw this one where Friburger surprised Finnegan with it. It was supposed to be a 10-second wheelie poppin', get kicked out of the drag strip machine, but obviously that never happened. After putting some nitrous on it, oiling a track on one episode, and then another episode they put big intake, nice carbs, and a nice NOS cheater system, it never went 10s. I think it went 1130s was the fastest that it went. And then it got stolen right off the production crew's trailer, and it just became the vehicle that never lived up to its potential, like a lot of RoadKill vehicles, but it was so cool, we had to love it. My favorite Maserati moment was definitely when they took it on the road course, and it performed okay. You know, it's sort of like you kind of think it might work with weight distribution and stuff, but then it went out there and actually did okay. That was kind of surprising. I kind of expected it to be complete junk. Number 9 is going to be La Fonda. I think this is a 74 Honda Civic. First seen in episode 59, where it was the $1,500 import budget beater battle between the two guys. Friburger bought that RX-7 that was pretty cool. It was way faster, but I really like the La Fonda car because it really showed that you can go out there and find cool, older, import econo boxes. I think it has some really good style. The vibes were so cool around that one. It was spend a little bit of cash, have a buddy spend a little bit of cash, go out and see who bought the better car and thrash them around. Number 8 is going to be probably criminally low on some people's lists, but for me it's Stubby Bob at number 8. Even though this is one of, if not the most iconic RoadKill vehicles. I mean, heck, it has Hot Wheels toys. This 1950 Ford dump truck that the guys shortened to be about, the wheelbase to be about this long in Finn's garage, and then failing to road trip it, and then bringing it back, having the genius idea to put the supercharged big block backwards in the tail end of it with a V-drive from a vintage jet boat, and making it a wheel-standing monster. This thing is iconic. Even has its own Hot Wheels car. Obviously, my favorite moment is the initial 6-wheel, trailer hitch dragging, wheel-standing dump truck moment. Awesome. Love it. But like I said, this is probably going to be a lot higher on a lot of your lists. Number 7 is going to be the Jaguar. First seen all the way back in Season 1, Episode 7, this 74 Jag XJ12, which was originally 12-cylinder, that had that ripped out, and the guys bought it for $1,000, running and driving, with a small block Chevy, and this thing was super cool. I guess if you've got a 871 blower setup laying around at the office, throw it on the Jag, right? Anything that can be described as tea and crumpets smothered in Jack Daniels has to be legendary. My favorite Jaguar moment, a lot of people would go with the taking the hood off through the car wash moment, but mine is actually getting out and racing Randy Probst. That, getting a real race car driver to go out there and compare yourself against is always cool, and even though it was not as fast, it did some sick burnouts that day. Number 6 is going to be the Wreck Runner slash C-Body Roadrunner. I like this one a lot, just like I said, like earlier when we talked about La Fonda, the vibes. The vibes on this one is cool. You've got a 68 Roadrunner that got absolutely wrapped around that pole. But the guy was okay, apparently. Walked away from it, so that's good. But you've got a lot of good parts. You've got a running engine, 4-speed. I don't know what else was salvageable off that. Maybe some front quarter panels, or hood and stuff. Take all of that, and then Dave and Dulcich on RoadKill Garage put them on a satellite, I think, a nice cleaner satellite, and made the wreck runner. Take a wrecked car, take all the good salvageable parts off, and put them on a donor car, and you've got one really cool car that you've saved. I like this one a lot because this is something that we can actually aspire to do. A lot of the TV show builds are not practical, but finding a wrecked hot rod, they're out there. Finding a donor car to put some good parts on, they're out there. And then at that point, it's just time. So this may be something I keep my eye out for. My favorite moment is when Friburger and Dulcich road trip this thing like 1,300 miles. And that is just really cool to take a car that was bent in half, save all the parts off of it, put on something else, and turn it into something you can actually drive. I really like that a lot. All right, halfway done. How are we doing compared to your list? Let me know down in the comment section down there. Okay, this is probably going to be a lot of people's number one, but my number 5 is going to be the General Mayhem. The OG motorhome powered 69 Charger that the guys built on a super budget. I know the price of 68, 69 Chargers has gone out of this world, but if you want one to just thrash around just to say you've got one, they're out there. The General Mayhem is not that nice, but we all love it because of how much it gets thrashed. And obviously, my favorite moment with the General Mayhem is not the 440 powered, but when it's Hellcat powered and they take it back to Dirtfish and it's got 700 horsepower and they're ripping it around that rally school. Chef's kiss. Best day at work ever. No questions asked. Alright, number 4 is going to be the Vet Cart. I like the Vet Cart so much because C4 Corvettes normally suck. They normally do. They're underpowered, they're gutless, at this point they're probably all starting to fall apart. The fiberglass needs work. But if you cut the body off of one, put a fresh engine in it, do some good suspension work to it, it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. Take it to the sand dunes, take it drag racing, take it autocrossing, do whatever you want with it like the RoadKill guys have done. And all I gotta say is don't try and drive it on 2 wheels. That obviously doesn't work. And like the Jaguar, my favorite moment with the Vet Cart is when they first put it together and go race that Lingenfelter C7, and Friburger gets the same time with both of them. Because a lot of times you do stuff, you think it's going to work, and it just doesn't. And it just, like, you're way slower, or it doesn't handle, or it doesn't do anything. But being able to take a C4 Vet, chop the body off of it, cage it, put a motor in it, and go out there and perform the same as a, I don't know, $100,000 Lingenfelter, that's really cool. That makes me want to go buy the Miata that's down the street that the guy's been sitting in his driveway for 2 years and won't sell it to me. I'll go talk to him after the first of the year, maybe. Number 3 for me is going to be the NASCARlo. I love how the guys pulled this off. Instead of trying to put turn signals and brake lights and all that stuff on a stock car and try to get a VIN number that way, get a 71 Monte Carlo that's just roasted. Take the body, throw it on the stock car chassis, make it work, and then boom, you've got a 71 Monte Carlo. For me, my favorite memory and episode of this car was Finnegan absolutely hauling butt at Laguna Seca with the straight pipes way over the decibel limit for that racetrack. I think they said the decibel limit was 90 and he was like 107. That's really loud. So he got kicked out, obviously. But I really like that car because here in Oklahoma, we have some laws about if a vehicle wasn't made for the road, there's ways to get it street legal by adding turn signals and brake lights and stuff. It's mostly meant for side-by-sides and like four-wheelers, but who says we can't apply that to stock cars? Number 2 on the list is the OG muscle truck. 74 C10 step side with an all-aluminum LS6, turbo 400, gear vendors overdrive, Ford 9-inch with 513s, and I think it's fuel injected at this point. They put an MSD system in it a while back. Beater truck, way too much horsepower, and an exhaust note that gearheads dream about. All I gotta say is C10s, not as bad as the 68, 69 Chargers, but they have come up in value, but you can still get some ratty ones for cheap. And if you've got an all-aluminum LS that you want to put in something, it's hard not to go wrong with a C10. And you can buy a long bed for, I don't know, $1,500, probably running and driving, $2,000 running and driving around here. Brothers Truck makes the kit that we saw on Hot Rod Garage, where you can turn that into a short bed, build a OG muscle truck inspired build pretty affordably, I think. My number 1 is going to be the Rotson. This super rusty 71 240Z is my favorite roadkill car of all time, hands down, without a doubt. 1, because it never fails to fail and it's always entertaining. It's got 2 modes, broken and hauling ass. There's nothing in between. I've got a personal connection. I had a 78 280Z that I loved. It was my first really cool car that I had to get rid of after we bought this house because kids, job, other priorities just really didn't allow me to drive it very much, and at the time it was breaking down a lot. Go figure, it's a Datsun. But I loved it. Loved it. It was absolutely beautiful. And at some point, I am going to build a tribute car to the Rotson on this channel because, well, I love it too much not to have one. So those are my top 10 cars from RoadKill. Let me know down in the comments what yours are, and I appreciate you all for watching to the end. If you like this Legalized Burnout shirts, I've got a link in the description, so check that out. And do what you always do, everyone. Take care of one another. I'll see you next time. Long live RoadKill. RoadKill for life.